Welcome. In this video, we're going to continue our work on antiderivatives. And namely, we're going to find the antiderivative of f of x equals 1 over x and little f of x equals secant squared of x. Unlike the previous video in which we looked at parts A and C and parts B and D, we're not going to guess and check. We're going to use what we already know about derivatives in order to find these antiderivatives. So let's start with B. Now for part B, if you recall, the derivative with respect to x of the natural log of x is equal to what? It's equal to 1 over x. This tells me that big F is equal to the natural log of the absolute value of x plus c. And I've linked to a video that explains really well on why we need this absolute value, but I'm not going to go over that here. Please see the video that is linked. And now let's check our work. And we check by saying, well, let's take the derivative with respect to x. The derivative of the natural log of x is going to give us 1 over x, and the derivative of this constant c is 0. So we end up with just 1 over x, which is the same thing as little f of x. So indeed, this is our antiderivative. Now for part D, let's recall some kind of trig function whose derivative with respect to x is equal to secant squared x. Can you think of something off the top of your head, some function, if you take its derivative, you get secant squared x? If you said tangent of x, you are correct. The derivative of tangent is equal to secant squared x. Using this information, I can say big F, which is my antiderivative, is equal to tangent of x plus c. And in both of these cases, I should add, c is a constant. And that would be for both of these. And now let's go ahead and check our work here. So let's find the derivative with respect to x of big F of x. And if you notice, I'm purposely using different notation just so we always stay comfortable with the idea that different notation can mean the same thing. And this becomes secant squared x plus this derivative. The derivative of c with respect to x would be 0. So I'm just going to leave that off. And if you notice, little f of x is equal to this value, so indeed the derivative of big F is equal to little f. So this is the antiderivative, the most general form of the antiderivative.